Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So the last update about Unfortunate Love was how Rishi announced his and Lakshmi's wedding date to everyone at the Oberoi house. Neelam gets angry while Malishka gets shocked. So let's continue from there. Rishi and Lakshmi are trying to lay the bed. Rishi tells Lakshmi that they have to get their marriage auspicious date taken out. Lakshmi leaves the bedsheet in shock and it falls on Rishi's face. Rishi says, I want to wear the wedding shera and not the bedsheet. Lakshmi says sorry and she asks that what did Rishi said. Rishi says to Lakshmi that I said that our marriage auspicious day needs to be taken out and I have invited everyone at home for our marriage. Lakshmi says I did not agree to the marriage yet. Then why did you invite everyone? Rishi says we have to marry someday because I know you will agree someday. Lakshmi asks Rishi to go to sleep. Rishi says it is 8:30 p.m. and they should talk. Lakshmi asks him to go and sleep. Rishi asks Lakshmi to say good night. Lakshmi says good night and she rests to sleep. Rishi wonders when Lakshmi would agree to marry him and says that they will not get sleep at 8:30 p.m. so they should switch off the light, and Rishi switches off the light to sleep. Malishka comes to the kitchen and asks Mukesh if the prasad is ready. Mukesh gives her the prasad. Malishka takes the bowl and goes to the temple. Mukesh thinks that Lakshmi's sister-in-law used to make prasad with a lot of devotion, but Malishka wants already made prasad. Malishka thinks that she cannot do this puja every day, and she thinks that she is doing this drama just to be good in Neelam's eyes, and once she marries Rishi, then she will not do all this. Lakshmi and Rishi are working in their neighborhood. Lakshmi tells Rishi that they have to change the rice she bought earlier because it is small grain. Rishi is escorting Lakshmi and they see a guy colliding with a girl and then scolding the girl. The girl says sorry to the guy and the guy is about to slap the girl. But Lakshmi interferes and she asks why the guy is raising hand on the girl when the girl had already said sorry. Some neighbor gossip that this girl Lakshmi came to stay here recently and she doesn't know who Kapil is. That is the guy that was about to slap the small girl. The neighbor says that if Lakshmi knows who Kapil is, then she will not dare to argue with him. Kapil asks Lakshmi why she is interfering. Rishi asks Kapil to talk to Lakshmi with manners, and Kapil said this is my manners, and he asks Rishi to keep his manners to himself. Rishi asks Kapil to apologize to Lakshmi. Lakshmi asks Kapil to go and she tells Rishi not to fight with him. Kapil says you are asking me to go and he asks them to go instead. Lakshmi asks Rishi to go to the office and says these things happens here daily. Rishi asks Lakshmi to go home and take care and he goes to the office while Kapil also leaves angrily. Lakshmi hears the ladies talking that Kapil is going to take revenge and Lakshmi wondered what they mean. Malishka comes to the room and says, until when will I do this? Waking up early in the morning to do puja. She says, if I don't do this, then Neelam auntie will get upset and says, I am here because of Neelam auntie. She says, I have hope that Rishi will return because I am here. She thinks to sleep for some time and she rests on the bed. Karishma comes there and sees Malishka sleeping. She says, Malishka slept again. Malishka gets up and says, Auntie, you are here. Karishma asks if Malishka is fine and Malishka says yes. She says she is afraid, thinking if she will marry Rishi. She says Rishi used to shout and says that he loves me before, but now he has left me to be with Lakshmi. Malishka tells Karishma that she had gone to drop Rishi at his house and says that he is living in a place where there are just walls and the place is so horrible. But Rishi is still happy with Lakshmi there, planning on what to eat and doing like a servant for Lakshmi. Karishma says to Malishka that Rishi is going to return soon and she reminds Malishka of Neelam's words and Malishka says she remember auntie, but Karishma asks Malishka to call her Bua and not auntie because they are family now and Malishka says yes Bua and she smiles. Lakshmi comes home and she asks herself that why did Rishi fought with that guy. She says that guy had done a mistake and he was fighting, but Rishi shouldn't have fought with him. She says they should not fight with anyone here, but Rishi is short-tempered. Shalu calls Lakshmi and asks if anything is missing in the house, and Lakshmi says yes. Shalu asks Lakshmi that what does she need, because she remembered that they bought everything that was needed, and she asks her to talk. Lakshmi says she is missing her sisters, and says that she is alone here, and she wished that her sisters should have been here with her. She says that she has never lived alone before. First, she used to live with her parents and her sisters, and then she used to be with the Oberoi family, but now she is alone. Lakshmi says to Shalu that she is thinking to go for a job tomorrow. Shalu asks Lakshmi not to worry and says they will come and visit her. Grandma is in the car and she asks the driver if he knows the way to Rishi's house. The driver says yes and says that he went with Mr. Virendra and drivers don't forget ways. Grandma says you are right and she thinks that Rishi said that he will marry soon and she thinks if Lakshmi agreed to the marriage, then it is okay. Else I have to make Lakshmi understand. Mukesh asks Malishka what to make for dinner. Malishka asks him to ask Neelam. Mukesh says Neelam asked me to ask you. Malishka thinks of what to do. She thinks if I should be happy that I am getting this important to decide what the family will eat, or if I should be sad because Rishi is not here. She says to Mukesh that she will tell him later and she asks him to go and Mukesh leaves. Ayush comes there and tells Malishka that he will drop her at home because there's no point for her to stay here. Malishka asks, really? Ayush says now that Rishi and Lakshmi are getting married, then what is your need here? Malishka asks what was Lakshmi's need here when Rishi and I were about to marry and even Lakshmi was staying here. Malishka asks, did you ask Lakshmi what is her need here or did you misbehave with her also? Ayush asks Malishka that who told you that you were getting married to Rishi? He says Rishi and your destinies are not related. He says when Rishi gets married to Lakshmi, then I will dance and you should also dance. Malishka says if Ayush was not Karishma's son, then she would have pulled his tongue. Neelam is sitting on a rocking chair and she thinks of Rishi's words and how Rishi left the house with Lakshmi. Karishma comes there and asks, did you think of what to do to bring Rishi back home? Neelam says yes, she has thought of something and says Rishi would never marry Lakshmi because I would throw Lakshmi very far away from here. Neelam says to Karishma that I will do anything to make sure that Rishi doesn't marry Lakshmi because I have given swear to Malishka to get her married to Rishi, so I will not go back on my word. Karishma asks that what plan have you made? Neelam says I will give what Lakshmi wants to her and then everything will be sorted. Karishma says Lakshmi wants Rishi and she asks Neelam that what is really her plan. Malishka says to Ayush that your plan to dance at Rishi and Lakshmi's marriage will never be fulfilled because Rishi and Lakshmi will never marry. Ayush says they will marry and I will dance and I will make you dance as well. Malishka reminds Ayush of Neelam mommy's words and says she is the daughter-in-law of the house. Ayush asks Malishka to call Neelam as auntie and not mommy because she is dreaming. Malishka challenged Ayush and says only time will tell who will become Ayush's sister-in-law between her and Lakshmi and says I will make you dance on my tune when I marry Rishi. Ayush says it is good to see dreams, but try and see a dream that can come true. Malishka says challenge accepted and she leaves while Ayush dances thinking of Rishi and Lakshmi's marriage. Grandma comes to Lakshmi's locality with the driver. The ladies around gossip that since when these two tenants got here, big cars has been coming to their neighborhood and says they might be from a rich house and that is why people in big cars come here. Grandma comes down from the car and walks towards Rishi's house. At the office, Virendra calls Rishi. Rishi comes there and calls Virendra sir while putting his hand behind his back as if he is talking to his boss. Virendra smiles and says he will slap Rishi if he calls him sir again. Rishi says you can slap me, but my mom is not here to save me. Virendra says you had come home and you announced your marriage with Lakshmi. Rishi says mom might have been hurt because of that, right? Virendra asks if Lakshmi agreed for the marriage and Rishi looks on. Grandma comes inside Rishi's house and looks around. Lakshmi gets happy to see Grandma and she hugs her. Grandma looks at Lakshmi and gets emotional. Lakshmi says she missed Grandma. Grandma says she missed Lakshmi more and she asks that how is she? Lakshmi asks Grandma to sit and says they don't have much household stuff and they are just managing. Grandma says to Lakshmi that what you have here in your house cannot be found anywhere else. She says this house might be empty, but it has peace, happiness, and also Lakshmi. Grandma looks at the house and she thinks that Lakshmi made this place as her home so soon and she had already put life into the place within just a few days. Lakshmi gives Grandma water. Grandma thanks her and drinks the water. Lakshmi asks Grandma to tell her how she is and how is everyone. Grandma asks Lakshmi to agree to her sayings and says she is tired of the short name Grandma because now she wants to be called as grandmother-in-law. Lakshmi says Rishi came to announce marriage to you all and says Rishi is a big drama queen. Grandma says to Lakshmi that Rishi is my grandson and he will be like me. She says I want my name to be grandmother-in-law and she asks Lakshmi that when is she making her become grandmother-in-law. She says Rishi had come home and said that he will marry soon and says if you agree to marry Rishi, then don't delay. She asks if Lakshmi did not agree yet, and Lakshmi looks on. Virendra tells Rishi that Grandma feels that Lakshmi did not agree to marry him yet. Rishi says he felt that Lakshmi would agree soon. Virendra tells Rishi that both Lakshmi and Neelam are stubborn, and Lakshmi might not agree easily. Lakshmi says to Grandma that I will make tea and breakfast for you. Grandma says don't change the topic because I understood that you did not agree to marry Rishi yet. Grandma says to Lakshmi that Rishi left his house and his mother for you because he loves you and he wants to marry you. She says life is waiting for your new start, and she asks her to marry Rishi soon. Grandma says I know that you love Rishi too, and she asks her to realize his love and marry him. Grandma says to Lakshmi that both you and Rishi should unite soon, and says we want you to marry Rishi and unite soon because your marriage and unity will bring smile and peace to a lot of people. She asks Lakshmi to agree to marry Rishi and says you would agree, right? And Lakshmi looks on. Virendra is talking to Rishi in his office. Ayush comes to Virendra's office and sees Rishi. He tells Virendra that Rishi is calling him sir and his head is bursting with pain. Virendra says it is between you brothers, so sort it out. Ayush tells Rishi that he is superior and older than him in every way, and he asks Rishi not to call him sir because he cannot bear it. Rishi gets emotional and he hugs Ayush and smiles. He says, sorry sir. Virendra says Rishi is again calling you sir, and he asks Ayush to punch him. They add a laugh, and Virendra asks Rishi to convince Lakshmi to marry him. Virendra says you know your mother. She can do anything to stop this marriage, so you need to convince Lakshmi on time before it is too late. And Rishi says yes dad. Ayush says to Rishi that Malishka is already calling Neelam auntie as mom, and he asks Rishi to be alert and be careful around Malishka. He says whatever problem Lakshmi and you had from the first day is because of Malishka, and says it is just that I cannot prove it, but I know it, and he asks Rishi to be careful. Virendra asks Rishi to convince Lakshmi soon, and Rishi nods that yes. Lakshmi is in her house thinking of Grandma asking her to marry Rishi and they should start their life afresh. Neelam calls Lakshmi and asks her to meet her immediately, and Lakshmi looks on. Karishma hears Neelam and thinks that this will be the last attack on Lakshmi, and then Lakshmi cannot return here. Malishka is in the room and she is angry on Ayush. Karishma comes there and asks that what happened. Malishka tells her that Ayush insulted her and praised Lakshmi. She says I couldn't marry Rishi due to Ayush, Grandma and Virendra uncle. Karishma says I will treat Ayush accordingly, and she tells Malishka that very soon you will get the good news. Malishka gets happy and asks Karishma that what is the good news. Karishma says Neelam's sister-in-law has gone to meet Lakshmi and the outcome will be good. Malishka asks what is she going to do with Lakshmi. Karishma says she went to make Lakshmi go away from Rishi and your way, and Rishi is going to return home. Neelam is sitting in a restaurant. Lakshmi comes to the restaurant and sees Neelam sitting and she looks on. Grandma is in the car going back home and she thinks that what is stopping Lakshmi from accepting to marry Rishi. She thinks that Rishi proposed to Lakshmi in front of everyone. Then why is Lakshmi not accepting his love, even though she also loves him so much? Virendra is in his office. Grandma calls Virendra. Virendra says Grandma is right because he talked to Rishi and he found out that Lakshmi did not agree to marry Rishi yet, but Rishi will convince Lakshmi to marry him. Grandma says that she tried to make Lakshmi understand as well, and until she agrees, then they will continue to try. Grandma says to Virendra that she feels that Lakshmi is refusing to marry Rishi because of Neelam, because Lakshmi might be thinking that she will separate mother and son if she marries Rishi. Virendra says that they will not stop trying until they succeed, and he ends the call after bidding goodbye to Grandma. Lakshmi comes to Neelam and she tries to take her blessing, but Neelam stops her. Neelam says you did not ask me why I called you, and you came here immediately I asked you to come. Lakshmi says you are an elder and you have called me, so I have to come. Neelam says you obey every of my word, but there is more word that I want you to obey if you truly consider me to be an elder. Neelam asks Lakshmi to go away from Rishi's life. She says I will give you anything you want as a price for leaving Rishi. House, money, wealth, anything. Just leave my son and go away forever. And Lakshmi looks on. Rishi is in the taxi going back home. He thinks that dad is right and he has to convince Lakshmi to marry him, else his mom and Malishka will separate him from Lakshmi. Lakshmi and Neelam sees a boy insisting to go for a horse ride at the restaurant. the boy's mother tries to make the boy understand, and then she slaps the boy hard to control him. Neelam tells Lakshmi that the mother tried to make the boy understand with love, but when the boy did not agree, then the mother slapped him hard because the mother wants his betterment and happiness. Neelam says to Lakshmi that a mother can take means to make sure that her son is out of danger. She says, even I can take any means for Rishi's happiness. Neelam asks Lakshmi that what do you want in order for you to go away from my son, and says you should go very far away from Rishi, that Rishi cannot search for you, and she threatens Lakshmi. Malishka asks Karishma if Neelam auntie really went to see Lakshmi. Karishma says yes, and she asks Malishka to become their proper daughter-in-law and keep the family united. Malishka says that mom and you have promised me many times that I will marry Rishi, but nothing has happened till now. Neelam tells Lakshmi that Rishi was about to meet with an accident some times ago, but I saved him and I got the driver arrested and punished for playing with my son's life. She says even you will be punished because you are playing with Rishi's life. Rishi will marry only Malishka and not you. And Neelam asks Lakshmi to go very far away from here after whatever offer she will give her. Neelam asks Lakshmi if she agreed for her offer. Lakshmi says sorry if you feel bad, but if I say the same thing to you, then how will you feel? And Neelam is shocked. Lakshmi says if I say that I will give you whatever you ask for, but you should go away from Rishi, then will you accept my offer? Neelam get up in shock and shouted enough. At home, Malishka apologized to Karishma for whatever she said. Karishma asks Malishka not to apologize and says that even they have complained with themselves, but this time, sister-in-law Neelam is like a wounded tigress and she will do anything to separate Lakshmi and Rishi, and she will come back home with Rishi, and Malishka get happy. Neelam says to Lakshmi that you are trying to value a motherly loss with money and says nothing can compensate for a mother's love. Lakshmi says even love is the same. If love is truthful, then it is said that it is God's avatar and nothing can compensate for a true love, and Neelam is shocked. Neelam asks Lakshmi that do you love Rishi? Lakshmi says I did not say that, but Rishi loves me, and I did not say that I want to marry Rishi, and I had refused to marry him in front of everyone. Neelam says you refusing to marry Rishi was your drama, and she tells her that Rishi had come to invite them for his marriage with her, so why is she pretending? Lakshmi says to Neelam that if Rishi invite them for his marriage with her, then it was Rishi's work, and says I respect you and I regard you as a mother, and I cannot be the wall between a mother and a son. She says you were talking about that mother that slapped her son to correct him, and says that mother slapped her son and made her son understand instead of making the us understand. Lakshmi asks Neelam to go and make Rishi understand instead of coming to her. She says I tried all means to stop Rishi, but he comes to me every time, or maybe destiny brings us together. Lakshmi says I am scared that if I die today to keep Rishi away from me, then even Rishi would also die and he will come to me, and Neelam is shocked. Karishma tells Malishka that tomorrow is your marriage day because Neelam will bring Rishi back home today. Malishka smiles and says my henna color did not go away till now. Karishma says it is the proof that you love Rishi so much. She says Neelam's sister-in-law will never let her son go to that person who always take advantage of him, and she asks Malishka to dream about her marriage. Rishi is in the taxi and the taxi stops on the way close to the restaurant that Neelam is talking to Lakshmi. Neelam asks Lakshmi if she is threatening her. Lakshmi says no auntie. Neelam asks Lakshmi not to call her auntie and she blames Lakshmi for controlling Rishi. Lakshmi says she never wanted Rishi to go from Neelam and says the person who left his house for me, so how do you expect me to leave him? Lakshmi says to Neelam that what if I leave Rishi and he still doesn't return home, then what will happen? She says Rishi is really sad without you and I cannot leave his side. Neelam says Rishi is not sad without me because if he had loved and respected me, then he would have returned home. Lakshmi says Rishi loves and respects you a lot, but Neelam asks Lakshmi to keep quiet and says you have done magic on Rishi. Lakshmi says to Neelam that I did not do anything to Rishi and says I don't know why Rishi has done this and why he left home for me. Neelam says you made Rishi mad and you are controlling him. She asks Lakshmi to go away from Rishi's life and she should not force her to take extreme actions against her. Lakshmi says to Neelam that I am ready to go far from Rishi, but on a condition that Rishi is going to return to you, else I will not go away from him. Lakshmi says Rishi left home for me just to support me and says sorry, I just need Rishi's happiness and his life and I am helpless, so I cannot leave him. Neelam says to Lakshmi that are you really helpless and says you know how to break home, how to break people and how to break heart and you are the one who make people helpless. She asks that how can you force yourself and says your values are not proper, it has flaws in it and your upbringing is questionable. Neelam says to Lakshmi that it was my mistake to come here. I thought to come here and make you understand, but I was wrong. She says, I thought you would understand and agree to my sayings, but you have proved to me that you are the same as I think you to be, and you don't have any value. Lakshmi remains silent and she looks on. Okay guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to give this video a like, share it, and I'll see you all again in my next video. Bye guys.